Hey, good evening. Good evening. I hope my voice is audible. I hope my voice is audible. Can anyone confirm if my voice is audible? Okay, let me give one more minute of time. Uh, After that, we'll start our session. So I'll just give one more minute of time. After that, we can start our today's session, which is on essential document. So today it is an interesting topic, which is essential documents. So I'll be speaking about more of essential documents. What are the different criteria for the documents and how the documents are being prepared and why is this document is important and what it plays a role in terms of clinical trials. So I'll give exactly one more minute of time so that everyone can join and then we can start with the YouTube live session. So today's YouTube live session is on a topic which is called as essential documents. So what are essential documents? First one. The second question, why essential documents are important. Third question, what are the classification of essential documents? So how do you classify the essential documents? Fourth question, list out all the questions or list out all the documents which are coming from before and during and after the clinical trials. And last one, I'll be taking some live interview based questions also during the YouTube live sessions. So without any delay, let's jump into the topic, which is today's topic, essential documents which are being used in clinical trials. What are essential documents? First question is, what is essential document and why is this so much important about the essential documents? So now when you call it as clinical trials, the importance of clinical trials is to understand the evidence whether the drug is having safety and efficacy. Now, how do you understand whether the drug is having safety and efficacy? So with respect to data, and this data will be coming from a document which is called as your essential documents. So generally, essential documents are the documents individually and collectively that permits the evaluation of clinical trial data and as well as how the clinical trial was being conducted and how it was being performed. So there are 2 points here. First is how the clinical trial is conducted. Second one is how the data was being collected. So the quality of data which was being collected and also how the clinical trial was being performed. So these two things one document can give or one of the documents can give is essential document. So if anyone asks us what is the definition for essential documents, it's a very simple answer that is these are the documents individually and collectively permits the evaluation of conduct of clinical trial, how the clinical trial was being conducted and how the quality of clinical trial was being produced. So this is what you call it as essential documents. So in clinical trials, as you everyone know that we have a wording which is called as if it is not documented, it is not done. If it is not documented, it is not done. So now it plays a major role that all the documentation, all the data which is being taken up is very, very important, plays a major role because if it is not documented, it is not been done. So why is this essential documents are needed? So first point, so to demonstrate whether the clinical trial were being conducted as per GCP, because essential documents comes from a document which is called as GCP. So to verify whether the conduct of clinical trial, the quality of data is been done as per your good clinical practice, whether you have followed, you have adhered, you have uh, done your clinical trial as per your applicable regulations. So this is also one of the most important why you need a essential documents. The third one is whether the documents are being audited by sponsor or monitor, because all the documents will be just verified and checked with respect to essential documents and no patient will be called by sponsor or monitor. So generally what happens is patient comes into conduct in clinical trial and he participates and he leaves. The rest of the things, stories, will be only on documentation. So the third important why essential documents are important, because the conduct of clinical trial and the quality of clinical trial data will be only assessed by auditor and also the monitor and also the regulatory authorities. And one of the most important point why essential documents are required is the trial master files. So the trial master files, or earlier we used to say it's a paper folder documents, but now it is on electronic systems. So we call it as ETMF. So before any trial is started, we create a ETMF or electronic trial master file. So which will be used for conduct of how the documents are being stored in clinical trials. Now, generally, essential documents are classified into three types. The first is before trial, second is during trial, and third one is after the trial. So now, first we discussed about what is essential document. These are the documents which are being used in clinical trial to permit the availability or to permit how the clinical trial was being conducted and quality of clinical trial was being produced. And why the essential documents are needed? Because these documents proves or demonstrated that we have conducted the clinical trial in compliance with GCP, applicable regulations, and also these are the documents which will be verified and checked by the sponsor, monitor, or regulatory authority inspections. And we spoke about some part of TMF, which is trial master file, wherein the trial master file indexing will be created before a clinical trial is started. So now the classification of documents are been of three types. The first is essential documents before use of trial. The second is during the trial, and the third is after the trial. So basically, the essential documents are the documents which are being used for the conduct of clinical trial and quality of data produced. And any of this document is missing, then it's a biggest finding, and you are not going to get an approval for any molecule, including the drug or device or vaccine, whatever you are conducting. If you have an evidence with respect to essential document, then only you are going to get approval by the regulatory authorities or by the auditors or by the monitors, and anyone can confirm that the clinical trial was being conducted. So essential documents plays a major role for all across the teams, because every team will be working across all the activities of the document. So document plays a major role for this kind of activities. Now coming back to the documents are being classified into three types: before, during, and after. So first question is, what are the documents which are being used before the trial? So first document for the clinical trial is investigator brochure, a document which speaks more information about a drug, background information about drug. The second document is the signed, dated, and approved protocol. So signed, dated, and approved protocol will be used. So that's the second essential document. The third one is the CRF approvals, or plain or empty or blank case report forms, what data is being collected, whether the data is not being collected, which is having confidentiality information, and also the blank ICFs. The blank case report forms will be collected before the start of trial. And one of the most important thing is the CV of the investigator. The CV of the investigator who conducts the clinical trial has to be provided. The CV of investigator has to be taken, and sub investigators has to be taken. And the next one is the IRB IEC approval for all this list of documents. The IRB IEC approval for all the list of documents, including protocol, ICF, CRFs, IEB, CEVs, all those things, the approval from IRB. And next document is IRB IEC composition. So IRB IEC composition also plays a major role for conduct of your essential documents. So next one is the instructions for handling of investigational medicinal products. So what are the different instructions to be provided for handling of investigational medicinal products? Normal values or normal ranges for lab values, which is considered as an adverse event, which is not considered as an adverse event, and all the facilities details, including the laboratory procedures or technical procedures or any third party vendors, their accreditations, their validations, their qualifications, all the documents has to be provided as essential documents. And certificate of analysis of investigational new drug product. So this documents comes into your before the clinical trials, including investigator brochure, protocol, the CRFs, the ICF, the IRB IEC composition, approval, CV of investigator, instruction for use of investigational product and facilities, and also the certificate of analysis and the different activities which are being done for third party vendors, including their certifications, qualifications, validations, and any kind of accreditations which are being given. And insurance policies, insurance statement for the subjects, and also signed agreement between all the people, signed agreement between investigator and sponsor, investigator and CRO, or sponsor and CRO, all those ones, signed agreement, clinical trial agreements are considered as essential documents. And decoding procedures, if the clinical trial is conducted in blinded fashion, decoding procedures for blinded therapies we have to provide, and pre-trial monitoring report. So all the pre-trial monitoring reports also are considered as essential documents. So essential documents, these are the list of documents before start of a trial: the IB protocol, CRF, ICF, CV, certificate of analysis, instruction for the use, local lab ranges, IRB, IC composition, IRB, IC approvals, and also the insurance statements and signed agreement, which is CTAs, decoding procedures, and also pre-trial monitoring reports. So these are the list of documents which will be used before start of clinical trial. Now let's pick it up from during the trial. What are the list of documents? So during the trial, all the list of documents which are being used will be coming as amendment. So all the documents, like for example, investigator voucher, updates or amendments, and protocol revisions or amendment, ICF revisions or amendment, CVs of new investigators, CRFs of amendment or new CRFs, IRB IEC approvals for new documents, or any changes in IRB IEC approvals, any changes in regulatory approvals. All these documents will be coming into your during the trial, which is more important for us. And certificate of analysis for new drugs, and monitoring visit reports, and signed informed consent forms, signed CRFs, and also source documents, and the CRF completion guidelines, and CRF corrections, or documents which are being given for CRF corrections, SAE reporting information from the investigator to sponsor, and SAE reporting from investigator to regulatory authorities, subject screening log, enrollment log, monitoring log. So this many things, or drug accountability also will come. This many things will come in picture during the trial. I'll take it as very easy words. During the conduct of clinical trial, we will take it up investigator browser updates, protocol updates, ICF update, CRF updates, and new investigator CVs, IRB IEC composition updates, IRB IEC approvals, and monitoring reports, and ICF completed by the subjects, CRF completion and CRF corrections, CCGs, and drug accountabilities, and also new investigator CVs, or updates to your local lab ranges, SAE reportings, or subject screening log, subject enrollment log, or monitoring report. So this many things comes during your conduct of clinical trial, when we work on during the conduct of clinical trial. Apart from that, we might have some of the things which is called as the retention of samples. In some studies, we might retain some of the samples for further usage. So retention of samples also might be useful for us. And after the trial, what are the different things after the trial we will have? After the trial, we will have first is clinical study report, drug accountability, closed or completion subject identification list, and the closeout monitoring report, and destructions of the drug details, and also the identification of code list and audit report. So clinical study report, audit report, closeout monitoring report, and completed subject completion list, and drug accountability at the closeout. So this many documents will come during the closeout phase. So now I'll repeat all the list of documents before use and during and after, then we can have some interview based questions. So before, IB protocol, CRFs, ICF, IRB composition, IRB IEC approvals, CV of investigator, drug COAs, and the CTAs, clinical trial agreements, pre-trial monitoring visits, also investigator CVs, and the clinical or COA, which is certificate of analysis for the new drugs. And during the conduct of trials, protocol updates, CRF updates, IMB updates, ICF updates, completed ICFs, completed CRFs, source document, core the CRF updates or CRF corrections, SAE reporting, drug accountability, and subject identification code list, subject enrollment log, and screening log. So this many things will be coming during the trial. And after the trial, audit report, monitoring report, closeout report, interim analysis report, and the closeout of the identification report, and document for instructions for drug accountability or drug description, and also the accountability at the site. So coming back to most important point, archiving of essential documents. So the IRB archives the documents for 3 years, and also the investigator archives the documents for 2 years. And according to different regulatory bodies, the archival period gets changed. All the documents has to be archived as per your the standards of the regulatory authorities, or it depends on which regulatory authorities you are going to give. So now today's topic, very interesting topic I have taken. First question I have answered is what are essential document. Second question, why essential document are important. Third question, classification of essential document. And fourth question, list out the essential document before, during, and after. And fifth question, what are the archiving timelines for essential document. It depends on regulatory body to regulatory body, but as per ICH for IRB it is 3 years, and for investigator it is 2 years at the site location. And these all documents will be stored at site or at the sponsor location depending on trial to trial. So this is all I have for today's session. I'll be happy to take some couple of questions. So when we do this kind of a interview based questions, what happens is in real time we might get this interview based questions for different roles. Either you go for a CRA or CRC or CTM or PV or whatever roles you are going during conduct of clinical trials, we might get the interview based questions. What are essential documents? How do you assess or how do you confirm the essential documents? So these are the list of a big list of essential documents which are being used for your clinical trials. So now I think I have got one question also. In the event of audit or inspection by regulatory authority, how do you prepare the facilities for the review of essential document? See, for example, if the audit or inspection, audit is by the sponsor and inspection is by the regulatory authorities. Now, in case if any one of these people comes for audit or inspections, then we will give a particular access. If it is electronic TMF or electronic trial master file, we will give specific access to them, that what are the list of documents which are being given access to site and sponsor before trial, during trial, after trial, and all those things we will give for TMF audit. So preparation for audit or inspection involves the conducting of routine TMF files or to identify the deficiencies and discrepancies proactively. What are the deficiencies and the discrepancies? Whenever an audit occurs, inspection occurs, we need to provide the access for the requested documents. What are the list of documents they wanted, either auditor or inspector, and we have to provide answers to that particular queries. And also we have to provide the access for the facilities if it is hard copies documents. And there should have standard process or procedures, documentation template, so that the audit process is very streamlined and we are not breaking any confidentiality. So the confidentiality is more important. The ICFs are only, the completed subject ICF are only stored at site location and not at other locations. So this is most important part which we need to understand. So one of the interview questions which repeatedly asked by interviewers are, tell me any 10 list of documents which are being used before, during, and after. What is the importance of this essential document? So say for example, what is CRF and what is the importance of CRF? So a CRF is a document which collects the patient related information as per protocol, which is being collected by the investigator to be submitted to the sponsor for each subject. And based on the clinical trial data which is being collected, you will assess the analysis reports, and statistical analysis report will run based on the essential documents. So I think that's one question which can be given. And one more role which particularly plays with essential document is trial master file role. So TMF role specifically works on particular area which is called as handling of essential document which are being used before, during, and after the clinical trial. So before the clinical trial, there are list of documents. During the clinical trial, there are list of documents. After the clinical trial, there are list of documents. So these documents will be archived properly so that any point in time, the inspectors or auditors can come and look at the documents and confirm the conduct of clinical trial, and the data which is being produced is as per your protocol, SOPs, GCPs, and regulations. Then I think your study is clear. So I hope today's session was very useful for you guys. And today I spoke about essential documents and why it is important, and classification of essential document, examples of essential documents, and couple of interview based questions for essential documents. So please leave your feedbacks that how was today's session about essential document. I will be getting back to you on next week Friday with one more YouTube live for one more live interview question and answer. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice, wonderful evening. Thank you.